Good morning.
Good morning.
So, has anybody found themselves in a position where they asked, how in the world did I end up here? Anybody? Yeah? No? Okay. Yeah, most people? I imagine so. Me and Tara had that morning. This morning we were just kind of looking at this and we're just like, how did we arrive here? And for me, it started off with a devotional. In Honduras. And I was on a mission trip with my grandparents. And when we were on that mission trip with my grandparents, I did this devotional, and after I got done with the devotional, my grandpa said, hey, you should come and do this in our Sunday school class. I said, oh, okay, yeah, that'd be cool. By the way, I'm about 20 right there, 19, 20 years old. And I'm like, all right, yeah, that'd be cool. So I get back home to the States, and when I get back to the States, I called my friend Maya. I said, Maya, hey, check this out. I'm going to get to talk in my grandpa's Sunday school class. She's like, oh, that's cool. That's going to be a lot of fun. I'm like, yeah, that'd be fun. She's like, well, how many people are going to be there? And I go, oh, I don't know, 10, 15, 20, I don't know. And then she's like, oh, okay. She's like, so you scared? Right? So at this point, it's like I'm an infant. I hadn't even really thought about the whole public speaking thing, like having to get up in front of people and actually talk and say things and, hope that those things are actually good and that people profit from those things. And so I'm like, oh, okay, well, I have no clue. So then I got up there and I'm like, well, here we go. I don't know how this is going to go. And so here's today. This is, I really do appreciate all the encouragement that each of you guys have given me today. So that's kind of my intro into that. But let's, the topic for today is sin and regret. And let's go ahead and start off with sin. And sin in our nature, if you really are, in our nation, I mean, we kind of get the idea, right? We get it. We get sin. We kind of understand sin. A lot of us are kind of like, yeah, we make mistakes. All of us are fallible. We all kind of screw it up sometimes in life, right? And then we have regret, right? And then, so I think that we should spend more time focusing on this piece. And so I want to start off this piece by talking about my experiences this last week. I went on another mission trip to Monterrey, Mexico. And these trips are always very hard for me because a lot of ways my Christian walk started on that first mission trip in Honduras, where my heart was really broken for people. Where in Honduras I saw absolutely systemic, devastating poverty, like all around. One of my degree, my bachelor's, what I was learning was history, right? And so in history degree, you learn a lot about, past cultures and things that go on, things. So you see like the pictures of the huts, and you see those kinds of different things, and you think, oh, okay. But it never really connected to me that, well, that happens today, right now. That like while we're in this awesome AC building, there are people around the world who are living in mud huts still. And that blew my mind. I thought, wow, man, we're like in the 21st century right now, and this is still going on around the world. And so that really kind of broke me in a lot of ways. And so it's ironic that my beginning starts in Honduras, and then this last week I'm in Mexico, and we're partnering with a ministry called Back to Back, okay? And how they approach, orphans, and this is really the ministry that they've been called to, orphan care, is they find children's homes. And then they partner with those children's homes to bring kind of the best practices, the best ways to help develop these kids so that they can be hopefully successful in their lives later on. So that they can move from being in poverty, not only just poverty though in money. Poverty is spirit, It's one thing when you don't have money perhaps, and it's a totally different thing when you just don't believe in yourself. When you're told that you're nothing by your parents, perhaps. And so they partner with these children's homes to change that, to really bring in a whole new dimension. Of course, the gospel, but that piece is being done by the children's homes as well. So these are most of these are kind of like Christian ran, Christian operated as far as that goes, right? So you kind of got a concept, an idea of how that's working. And so there, we were able to do a lot of great work. We were able to repaint rooms for the girls and make them feel special. A lot of them the boys had done some paintings and things, and so they sell them to kind of learn about work and selling and getting rewards for your work as far as that goes, and being disciplined and doing things, and then being creative, just in general in painting. And so a lot of the team members and things bought paintings from there, and so just love was just shown in absolutely powerful ways this last week in Mexico, in the children's homes that we were at. And while we were there, they had a theme, back-to-back had a theme of RE, right? And so it was RE words that connected to the gospel of grace, okay? So it was off Revelations, the idea of that God makes all things new at the end of Revelations, right? And so they had words like renew, redeem. What other words, RE words, that can you think of that can be applied to the gospel? So you got renewed, redeemed. What else is out there? Rebirth. Okay. Repentance. Sure. What else? Rebuilding.
Revivify.
Revivify. I like it. Maybe refresh. Revive. Reformation. Oh, there you go. Oh yeah. J-Trap's like, yeah, I was on that one. Love it.
You know.
Restore.
I think I heard that word before.
Reconciliation.
Not sure where.
I want to stay on restore. So we were actually doing a Bible study on restore, and during that time, one of the ladies that was there, she started to kind of let us in, right? Started to actually open up, and during that time period, she talked about her regret and how she raised her child. And she really let out, some of the pieces and some of that brokenness about how she didn't think that she did good enough. And then there was the other thing that we learned in Monterey as well is that some of the children believe that. So let me. In third world countries, orphans, it's not necessarily. What's classified as orphans is not necessarily that both parents are gone or dead, okay? A lot of times it can be a single parent who just cannot, for whatever reason, whether mental or economic reasons, take care of the child, okay? So when we say orphan, when I talk about orphan, at least today, that's what I'm talking about, is that they may have a parent or both parents or no parents, but for whatever reason, they're out of the picture. They're down for the count, and they're unable to be there for them. And the children, I found out, blame themselves for that. Oh, I wasn't good enough. I wasn't good enough for mommy. I went and did this wrong thing over at school, and so she had to drop me off over here. Or I just couldn't behave at home, or I couldn't get along with my brother or my sister. And so now I'm here. That's why I'm here, and I regret those actions. And then even me, when I think about regret personally, it was actually just last week, and I was getting frustrated about something. I was so frustrated, and then I just kind of snapped, You know how you get frustrated sometimes, and you just kind of let out some careless words that you shouldn't have said, and I did that towards my fiancée, Christina, and I hurt her feelings. Regret is powerful, isn't it? Regret, oh my goodness, it incapacitates you. It pulls you. And it pulls you into one of two directions in my mind. It's kind of like stress. It's kind of like fight or flight. It's either, for us, in a lot of ways, regret's either going to move us forward or it's going to keep us held back. Right? So let's go ahead and we're gonna move to 2 Corinthians 7. So 2 Corinthians chapter 7, verses 8 through 11. For those who have them, you don't have to have your Bibles, but if you do, that's where I'm hanging out. I'm going to read it twice. The first time I'm going to read it is going to be from the Common English Bible, and the second time I read it, it's going to be from the Message. All right. It says this: "Even though my letter hurt you, I don't regret it." All right, let's go ahead and pause right there. Paul, sometimes when you're reading the Bible, you just stop and you go, "What? Really?" I don't remember Christians being. Are you allowed to do that? You're allowed to be like, "I hurt you, but I really don't care right this moment. I don't feel any twinge. I don't feel any guilt. And so I find sometimes, and sometimes the translation matters, I just find sometimes the Bible just be a little comical. I actually, literally, I laughed at that and just went, that's just awkward. But it's very Paul in a lot of ways, isn't it? Isn't it? So, but then he says, well, actually, I did regret it. It actually was that. So, well, I did regret it. Just a bit, because I see that the letter made you sad. Though only for a short time. Now I'm glad. Not because you were sad, but because you were made sad enough to change your hearts and lives. You felt godly sadness, so that no one was harmed by us in any way. Godly sadness produces a changed heart and life that leads to salvation and leaves no regrets. But sorrow under the influence of the world produces death. Look at what this very experience of godly sadness has produced in you. Such enthusiasm. What a desire to clear yourselves from blame. Such indignation. What fear. What purpose. Such concern. What justice. And everything you have shown yourselves to be innocent in the matter. Now the Message version. I know I distressed you greatly with my letter. Although I felt awful at the time, I don't feel at all bad now that I see how it turned out. The letter upset you, but only for a while. Right? This made it better, right? So, only for a while. Now I'm glad. Not that you were upset, but that you were jarred into turning things around. You let the distress bring you to God, not drive you from Him. The result was all gain, no loss. Distress that drives us to God does that. It turns us around. It gets us back in the way of salvation. We never regret that kind of pain. But those who let distress drive them away from salvation, drive them away from God, are full of regrets. End up on a deathbed of regrets. And now, isn't it wonderful all the ways in which this distress has goaded you closer to God? You are more alive, more concerned, more sensitive, more reverent, more human, more passionate, more responsible. Look at it from any angle. You come out of this with purity of heart. And that is what I was hoping for in the first place when I wrote the letter. My primary concern was not for the one who did the wrong, or even the one wrong, but for you. That you would realize and act upon the deep, deep ties between us before God. That's what happened. And we felt just great. And now, isn't it wonderful all the ways in which this distress has goaded you closer to God? You're more alive, more concerned. He's going back over it again. More sensitive, more reverent, more human, more passionate, more responsible. Actually, no, I just copied and pasted that twice, so that's pretty funny. So we're going to move on that. I thought that was kind of ironic. So, the gospel of grace and what Paul's given us there, it pulls us forward. It pulls us as best as it can beyond regret. And so this is how it's played out. The child who believed it was their fault that they were left in a children's home, they were loved. They were loved unconditionally. They were told that anything that you may have done has been forgiven. Anything that is pulling and holding you back in your life, you can push to the side. And that the gospel of grace calls you into greater and better things. And the mother who was in guilt and sad because she didn't believe that she did good enough made the comment at the end that, well, before I left, she did send me a verse to encourage me. Maybe I didn't do so bad. And my fiance, when I had realized my error, and I said, I'm sorry. I don't know where that came from, but it was wrong. Will you forgive me? And she said, yes. So may us all try our best to move past regret. Seek God's face. Find the redemption in the situation. And ask God to heal us all. Amen.
Amen.